What's going on, everybody? It is mailbag time here on the channel. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. These are my favorite videos we do. You guys ask some great questions, and it's just me and y'all chopping it up about our Minnesota Vikings. And training camp's here. The season's just around the corner. Can't wait to see what you guys have to say. But Bob Barker coming in here with the first question. What's going on, Bobby? Who are some Vikings players that could regress this season? We're not talking about breakout guys. We're actually talking about guys that could take a step back. First one that came to mind was Andrew Van Ginkel, and I hate saying that. But listen, Van Ginkel was the first player ever last year to have 2 pick sixes, 10-plus sacks, and 70-plus tackles. Is he going to do that again? He very well could. He could have 3 pick sixes this upcoming year. But if I had to pick one guy to regress, maybe Van Ginkel, maybe a Byron Murphy Jr., because we've really only seen Murph had one solid year of production so far by when he joined the Minnesota Vikings. So maybe Byron Murphy, maybe Andrew Van Ginkel. Anybody offensively? Can't really think of anybody offensively. I think they're all going to keep getting better, but good question, Bob. I appreciate you. And Blinky coming in. What's going on? Saying, hey, Pat, with the Eagles winning the Super Bowl last year and the quarterback/wide receivers being more locked up, are we going to see more 50-50 run pass teams? I think 110%. I think also the Vikings, well-run organization. They see the trends in the NFL, and what did they do this offseason? You add in Ryan Kelly, added in Will Fries, you traded for a dynamic running back in Jordan Mason. They did all that to improve the run game. You also got better on the defensive line to stop the run at a higher level with Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, and I think just the NFL, it's a copycat league. You guys have heard that 1,000 times. But, I'm sure teams were like, oh, the Eagles just did that with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Well, we can replicate that with whoever we have at quarterback. We get a really good coaching staff. You get a stacked team top to bottom. You get a really good run game. And just all those things are, ended up helping the Eagles win a Super Bowl. But 100%, I think this upcoming year, I think this might be the highest, run-pass split we've seen in favor of run probably over the past 5 seasons. But Blinky, I like where your head's at. Good question. Funny boy Roddy coming in here saying, I want my Vikings sweeping the whole division. And J.J. McCarthy, we trust. How awesome would that be, funny boy Roddy? Vikings sweep up the whole NFC North. I think we got to start with just winning one game versus the Detroit Lions. But if we do that, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Tommy Wood, what's going on? You mentioned Hawk having a huge year. What do you think about Josh Oliver having a big year? I think Josh Oliver easily could. He really impressed me last year in the pass-catching department when Hawk did miss time. But back to what I was saying on TJ Hawkinson, maybe I'm just a sucker for these off-season workout videos and these training camp clips, but the guy looks awesome. And I think he should look awesome. He's 28 years old. He's hitting his athletic prime right now. He's been in the NFL a very long time. He understands coverages, and last year he was coming off that torn ACL, wasn't able to work on his body that whole offseason, just kind of got thrown into the fire. And, I was a little disappointed in Hawk last year, but I also got massive expectations for the guy. I think he could be a top 3, top 5 tight end this upcoming season. And he should have a massive year because J.J. McCarthy, that's his safety blanket. He had such a good connection with Colston Loveland when they were at Michigan. He's probably going to try to have that same connection with TJ Hawkinson. And I remember asking a question recently, who do you think is going to have more yards, Addison or Hawk? And I would still lean Jordan Addison, but if you told me Hawk goes for 1,000 yards and Addison only goes for 800, I would not be shocked whatsoever. So I think both those guys will have good years, but mainly Josh Oliver in that run blocking department. I think when the Vikings are really trying to get downhill, we'll see his snaps really increase in just certain games. Tang Yang coming in. What's going on? My biggest X factor is the interior O-line. Vikings ride or die with them. That's a great point. Because there are some question marks on the interior offensive line. It looks good on paper. Ryan Kelly, Will Fries, Donovan Jackson. But if I wanted to be a negative Nancy and I want to take the negative view of that O-line, I would say Donovan Jackson, he's unproven. He played left tackle for Ohio State last year. Obviously, offensive guard is his true position, but you say, hey, he's going to have to adjust back to playing guard. Ryan Kelly, you could just say, hey, he's getting older. Will Fries coming off a broken leg. There are question marks still on that interior offensive line. It looks great on paper. When I show you guys that graphic where it's Darrisaw, Donovan Jackson, Kelly, Fries, Brian O'Neill, those 5 that 5-man offensive line for the Vikes, you're assuming that's going to be top 7, top 5 in the league. And if they do stay healthy and they play up to their abilities, they 110% can be. But I agree with you on that X factor. I was saying Isaiah Rodgers previously, but interior offensive line definitely there because, as we know, interior pressure on quarterbacks definitely affect them. Now, I will say it won't be as extreme with JJ compared to Darnold and McCarthy just because JJ is a better athlete than those guys, or Darnold and Cousins. Yeah, like I said, JJ's a better athlete, but don't disagree with you whatsoever on that one. But speaking about the season, you guys let me know. Predict the Vikings record for this season. You guys let me know down below in the comment section. Get them in now. I'm going to wait. I'm flirting between 11-6, 12-5. We'll get official prediction here on the channel here soon. But if you guys want to, let me know what you think the Vikings record will be next season. Now we'll get to more of you guys' questions in a second. But before we do so, I got to tell you about a new product we have here at Vikings Now by Chat Sports, and that is Factor Form's Daily Greens. Now start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form at factor75.com/VikingsChat. We'll hook you guys up with 40% off plus free shipping. Now, I'm not lying to you guys. I have tried green supplements in the past, and I swore I was never going to try them again until I pivoted and tried Factor Form's Daily Greens. Now, most of us dread drinking greens, but Factor Form changed the game. You actually crave your greens, and as a sister brand to Factor Meals, Factor Form was designed to work hand in hand with your meals, making better nutrition effortless. Daily Greens is a greens powder by Factor Form you look forward to drinking. Just one scoop delivers 100% of your daily nutrients, filling nutrient gaps, supporting whole body health, and helping you feel your best. Daily Greens by Factor Form is made from real vegetables, packed with a whole serving of kale and spinach without tasting like it. In a blind taste test, Daily Greens ranked #1 in taste, texture, and aroma, beating out the biggest names in the industry. So if you guys want to start your day right with Daily Greens by Factor Form, head on over to factor75.com/VikingsChat to get 40% off plus free shipping on your first order. That's factor75.com/VikingsChat for 40% off plus free shipping. Hit that link in the comment section and description of today's show. Factor75.com/VikingsChat. Tang Yang coming in. What's going on? Cut, extend, trade. Alrighty, this is fun. 98 Cunningham, 09 Favre, 07 Keenum. 07, I'm assuming you mean 2017 Keenum. Okay. I'm cutting Case Keenum. That's an obvious here. I think, well, if you trade Favre, 2009 Favre, you're not getting a lot. But you're also probably not you're not going to want to extend 09 Favre as he was like 40 years old that year. But Randall Cunningham, I would probably, this is a great question, Tang Yang. I'm cutting Case Keenum. That's easy. I'm going to trade Brett Favre, and I'm going to extend Randall Cunningham. I think. Maybe I'll flip those two. Tang, that's a great question. Hate you putting me on the spot like that, but fantastic stuff, man. Eric, what's going on? Hashtag Vikings. How do you see KOC using Felton during the regular season? We'll see. I mean, he could use him in a bunch of different ways. I could also see games where Ty Felton doesn't get on the field. Just because how stacked they are at that wide receiver position. But if there is an injury, knock on wood, but there's an injury to Addison, Naylor, I think he steps in and he'll make a big impact. But specifically when Addison's suspended, I could see him having a massive, massive role. I just think he would be a better wide receiver too than Jalen Naylor. Now, also Kevin O'Connell was talking about Naylor recently, saying that he did a great job filling in for Addison. So maybe they got more faith in Naylor than I do. But I don't know. When you go turn on Ty Felton's tape at Maryland, dude's a dog, man. He really checks every box you would want at the wide receiver position. But, Eric, I appreciate you. Crypto coming in. What's going on? Who do you think is going to underperform this year for the Vikings? A little similar to the question we answered earlier. But like I was saying, I was thinking maybe an Andrew Van Ginkel, Byron Murphy, and that's no disrespect to Van Ginkel also. Van Ginkel had a historic year last year. Like, technically underperforming for Van Ginkel would be like 60 tackles, 10 sacks, and 1 pick six. Just because of how special he was last year. And also, with Dallas Turner maybe more in the fold, maybe he doesn't get on the field as much as we think. Another guy that underperform, I don't want to put this out there, maybe like Brian O'Neill takes a step back as he is getting a little older. But a good question. I would either go Van Ginkel, maybe Byron Murphy, maybe a Brian O'Neill, but we'll have to wait and see. Cohen, what is your biggest issue with J.J. McCarthy? You know, it's been all praise here on the channel about J.J., but I definitely do have some concerns. Obviously, number one is staying healthy. He had a slimmer frame coming out of college, and now he's added on weight. He looks good. He looks thick, which is fantastic. But layering the football in terms of just throwing, I think when he's sitting in the pocket, being able to put the ball, right over the top of the zone, I think that's something he's definitely going to be working on. But, I say that, and then you go turn on the tape from the first preseason game against the Raiders. He was layering the football like crazy. He can obviously throw the deep ball. He can obviously zip it over the middle of the field. But I'm more talking those corner routes where he's just sitting in the pocket. He just kind of got to drop one in. Maybe that's one thing I'm going to be a little concerned with for McCarthy. But besides that, don't really have any concerns. I'm very confident in this kid, man. He's got his head screwed on straight. He looks awesome. Ghoul City, what would your perfect season look like for the Vikes? Unreal question. Love this. Like, are we talking realistic perfect season? Because obviously I would just say 17-0. They win the Super Bowl. JJ wins MVP, all that. Realistic perfect season for your Ghoul City. I think it's winning the NFC North. Vikes go 13-4. And I think Justin Jefferson goes for like 1,900 yards. I think if I had to pick like one guy to have like a statistical outlier type of season, I'd probably just want it to be Jefferson. Him going out there, he gets 1,900 yards. Maybe like also this defensively, Van Ginkel, Turner, and Gennard combined for 30-plus sacks. That would be sick. They combined for almost like 27 last year, so 30 is definitely on the table. But yeah, perfect season. You go win that Super Bowl. That's it. Yeah, obviously, if I want to go unrealistic, 17-0, Vikes win the Super Bowl. They don't allow a single point the entire year, but we'll see. Ghoul City, I appreciate you though. Batang Yang, hit me again with these tough questions. This is messed up, especially this one. Cut, extend, trade. 07 Adrian Peterson, 98 Randy Moss, 2020 Justin Jefferson. All right, I'm cutting Adrian Peterson. I just felt something in my heart when I said that. And that's just because of the running back position. I'd rather have a dynamic wide receiver than a dynamic running back. You can just look at the contracts in the NFL, and they would agree with that. Now it comes down to 98 Randy Moss and 2020 Justin Jefferson. I'm going to trade Randy Moss, and I'm going to extend Justin Jefferson. Obviously, you're getting a huge haul for both those guys, but I've been saying Jefferson's going to be a top 10 receiver of all time. Obviously, Randy is a top 3 receiver of all time. And you guys can call me a young Vikings homer, all that. It's probably the reason I'm picking Jefferson over Randy. Yeah, that's a tough question. I would probably cut AP, extend Jefferson, trade Randy Moss. More former Vikings here. Last question by Gordon the GOAT. If you could add any former Vikings player to this team, who would it be? Great question. All right, so let's think position of need here. Would it be wild to say 2017 Xavier Rhodes? Is that a wild thing to say? Like if I had to pick a specific year, a specific player, that 2017 Xavier Rhodes, or maybe Antoine Winfield would be up there. But I thought Xavier Rhodes, he was one of the best corners we've ever seen during that season. I was going to maybe go a defensive line, but you're probably good there. You could go Adrian Peterson for this one. Xavier Rhodes. I would probably go Rhodes. Just because I think he would be the icing on the cake to this defense. Because could you imagine the defense with 2017 Rhodes, Murphy in the slot? You got Isaiah Rodgers working in with Brian Flores. Like, that would be the best defense in the league. Or do you just create the best running game in the league and you just say, hey, here's 2011 Adrian Peterson on your team? That's a great question, though. I appreciate it. You guys also let me know. Any former Vikings player that adds to the team, who would it be? But if you guys also made it to the end of this mailbag, we appreciate all of you guys for watching. And if you guys did watch this entire thing, hit me with a SKOL down below in the comments section. Shout out to all of the real ones who watched this entire thing. And also, you guys can hit me up on Twitter for more content around your Minnesota Vikings. That's a handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there. I'll give you guys a follow right on back. We'll see you guys next time. As always, SKOL Vikes.